Unrelated to this review, but the other day I listened to an album called Deceit by a band named This Heat. Very good album is all I'm going to say. Definitely worth checking out if you like punk music. Again, not related to this at all, just something I'm throwing out there. So Chat Pile is a band formed in Oklahoma in 2019. The member stage names are Ray Gun Bush, Luther Manhole, Stin, and Cap and Ron. In 2019, they released 2 EPs, This Dungeon Earth and Remove Your Skin Please. They were pretty good. In 2022, they released their debut album, God's Country, to lots of acclaim. I reviewed that album. It was very good. Definitely listened to it before this one. In 2023, they released an EP with Nerver, as well as the soundtrack to a movie called 10 Killer. I've never seen it and I hadn't heard of it before this, but all the reviews say that it's alright, so I guess it's just alright. And in 2024, the band released their sophomore album, Cool World, which I'm reviewing now. So with this album, the band said they wanted to push their sound past just noise rock. Because remember, the band think that they just make noise rock, even though everyone else kind of agrees collectively that they make a mix of noise rock and sludge metal. It doesn't hit quite the same as their first album. It lacks the kind of violent, intense feeling that made the first album as good as it was. Instead, on Cool World, the band lean into a more traditional metal sound, and the songs have a bit more of a groove to them, if that makes sense. The album is supposedly named after the 1992 movie Cool World. I've never seen it, but I think it's about Gabriel Byrne and Brad Pitt fighting over a real-life cartoon woman. I'm not sure they picked this movie to name their album after, seeing as lead singer Reagan Bush gave the film 3 stars on Letterboxd, but he also gave that to The Brutalist, and that was like incredible. The bit where his wife gives him a hand job and he just starts softly sobbing is better than anything Hitchcock could even dream of. But yeah, weird thing to name your album after a movie you just thought was alright. One of the best songs on this album is I Am Dog Now. It's a good opener. It shows what makes this album different, but it still has the screaming vocals and distorted guitars that are Chat Pile at their best. Frownland is another one of the best songs. Immediately, to start off with, it has a bit of experimentation for the band, with a really groovy bass line leading the song, and what sounds like a sonar, I think. I'm not really sure. This song has a lot of weird guitar noises sprinkled throughout it. That's what I'm calling them because I don't play guitar and I don't know what they are, but to me they sound like noises that a guitar can make, but it wasn't supposed to make, if that makes sense. No word on whether this song is related to the opener on Trout Mask Replica in any way, unfortunately. Mask is another one of the best songs. It's a song about a toxic relationship that's surprisingly catchy, especially in the chorus, which is not what I expected from Chat Pile, but I'm happy they did it. There's more experimentation here with the different kinds of sounds being used, and honestly, I'm all for it. Probably coincidence, but Mask is the third last song off of Cool World, and the third last song off of God's Country was called The Mask. Again, probably just a coincidence, but just thought it was mildly interesting. Milk of Human Kindness shows Reagan Bush departing from his usual kind of screamy, screechy style of singing to something a little more passionate sounding, which surprisingly works really well. It's about a man who joined the army for glory only to be horrified by the bloodshed, which makes sense seeing as the song is named after a line from Macbeth. Another one of the best songs and my personal favorite is the last song, No Way Out. Again, like all the other best songs, it's just showing Chat Pile experimenting with their own sound a little bit more. And even if it isn't as great as the closer off of God's Country, Grimace Smoking Weed.jpg, it's still like a great song, and it's cool to see them kind of not just doing the same thing again, but actually trying to push themselves to do something different, which is always respectable, I think. As for the worst songs, I think the first pick for being the worst is definitely Camcorder. I see what they were going for with this one, but it just ends up kind of droning on and on and on, which is not great, seeing as there was a song on their last album that was, I think, 3 or 4 minutes longer than this one is, but I had no issue with that one being as long as it was. That Grimace Smoking Weed.jpg is the one I'm talking about. So yeah, I'm not sure how they made one great, very long song and then one shorter song that I feel was too long. Another of the worst songs is The New World. There's nothing really wrong with this one, but it just feels like something off of God's Country. Like it's stuck in that era a little. It hasn't moved on to this kind of new sound with the rest of the track list. So, like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it's a perfectly fine song, but in the context of this album, it doesn't really fit, especially seeing as it's slapped right in the middle. So, the album cover for this one is very similar to their previous covers. It's a border with the Chat Pile logo and a picture. This one is of a big cross outside of a megachurch in Oklahoma, I think. Side note, what is it with 2024 albums and having like a black and green color scheme and a cross on the left-hand side? Like, I can only think of 3 albums that did it, being obviously Chat Pile as well as Knocked Loose and JPEG Mafia. But, like, it's weird that it happened 3 times with 3 big albums in the same year. Like, I don't know, I'm just waffling on. So yeah, on Cool World, we see Chat Pile kind of expanding, pushing the boundaries of the sound they've made for themselves, and I'm really excited to see what they do next. Even if it wasn't as good as their debut, it's still worth listening to, I think. I think 8.3 Cool World starring Gabriel Byrne and Brad Pitt is a good score to give this album. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to recording the next review. You'll see what it is when it comes out. Okay, bye.